Hello, wayward traveler, my friend, and hello to our friends on the podcast. This is Find Your People. I'm Katie.
I'm Mandee.
And I'm just trying to make it through this week. I've got 2 tests tomorrow back to back. So,
boy.
Yeah.
So tomorrow's the day you go to school till like 8 p.m., right?
Yes. And tomorrow's also a day that I don't normally go to campus, but I am.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's going to be a long day, but
class until 8 p.m. I'm not over it.
Yeah. Yep. Long day. But that's all right.
Over it.
I love my classes and I'm learning a lot. So that's all that matters. All that matters. So Mandee, tell me about your trip. You've been posting about it and I've loved watching your bougie regatta trip with the porta potties. So please. And there were Blackstones. Look, I'm here for it. So tell us all the things.
Yeah, so Cleveland, listen, what is more bougie than a regatta in Cleveland?
That's Cleveland, Ohio on is it Lake Erie? I think it's Lake Erie, right?
It is Lake Erie, but
look at me knowing these things.
The regatta was actually on the Cuyahoga River.
Okay.
It's ahead of the Cuyahoga.
Yep. So, I know. Yep.
But no, love Cleveland. It is such a fun little city. We went for
Cleveland rocks
last year. Yes, it does. And my sister and I just had the best time last year, and so we did a repeat of some of the things we had done. There's a great restaurant it's actually out in Cleveland Heights, which is out past the Cleveland Clinic, called Zug. And it's a Mediterranean spot, and so
that's what that means. Okay.
Yes, it's shared plates, and it is just so good. I will admit that it was funny. Our time hop, like we were there exactly a year ago.
Oh.
So all of a sudden on time hop, everything started popping up, and I had the best cocktail there last year. It was rye whiskey and
hooked already.
Some other stuff, and so I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to have that again." And it wasn't on the menu, and so I asked if they could make it, and they couldn't because it has like specialty syrups and stuff. So my cocktail wasn't quite as remarkable this year.
Right.
It's delicious. I highly recommend it.
Love it.
So we got there Thursday. We went and ate at a great little Jewish deli called Larder that's in an old firehouse. The best. So cool. So like they roll up the old doors and have indoor outdoor seating right there.
Wait, it's not 5,000 degrees in Cleveland?
With 70 degrees.
What would that be like?
I didn't even know. We walked out of the hotel and I was like, oh gosh, I've got on shorts. This may be a mistake.
Did you need a parka?
I mean, I loved it.
And a toboggan?
Loved every minute of it.
I love it.
Loved it. Yeah, and so then we did that, and then we went to Zug that night. Now listen, if you do anything on your travels other than figure out where you're gonna eat next, I'm not sure we can travel together.
That's all I do.
Like, what else are you supposed to do? Go to a museum? Boring.
Wait, well, that's in between meals.
Unless, of course, you can see the what was it? They got you the samurai. The samurai. Is that what it was?
I'm telling you, that was the best.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Anyway, so that was sort of our
dream about those warriors.
Our first day in Cleveland, and then we got up Friday, and we were just it's like a mile and a half to the West Side Market, and we're like, oh, we can walk that. We have to walk across the Guardians Bridge. Oh yeah. So it's a long walk, but we did it, and it was fun. We had the best home fries of my life.
Really?
It's hard to find a good potato, like a good breakfast potato. Let
me tell you, and to walk that far, but you can do it because it's 70 degrees,
right?
And reward yourself with a breakfast potato. I mean, I would walk that far for that. There's not many things I walk that far for.
Living. Yeah.
Yep.
So that was fun. And then we went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame again.
Fun.
So fun. They've got a great Beatles exhibit right now.
Wait. Did you just say you like a museum, ma'am?
I did like the Rock and Roll Hall of
Okay.
Fame.
Just checking.
Because they have a really great Beatles exhibit right now.
Love it.
And I remember feeling the same way last year after we left. I need to listen to more Beatles. But it follows, and it may be part of that documentary that came out, I think year before last. It's like 11 hours long. That everybody was watching over Thanksgiving. I remember. I never watched it.
Okay.
This is sort of a shortened version of that, and to watch, they were filming the first time Paul like introduced Let It Be to the band. So to watch them hearing that for the first time, he didn't even have all the words yet, and then to sort of watch them plug in like their parts.
It's all about the story.
If you have not watched the Jason Isbell documentary on HBO,
you know
they do a similar thing. They do a similar thing with that. So that it's really fascinating. And then they show their final concert was actually on this rooftop in London, like not announced. They just go out on this rooftop and start playing. And all these people from like nearby businesses are coming out of their offices and looking like, what is happening?
What do I hear?
It was really cool. And then they have, I think it's on the third floor of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They have like an entire floor of garage bands. So you can go in and learn how to play the guitars, play the bass, play the keyboards.
I saw some video of you and your sister.
Yeah, so last year
starting your own band.
Last year I played the bass and she played the drums, and she still to this day really wants a drum set. Like she's like, the feeling that comes over me playing those drums, I need that. So we haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, but she swears she wants it.
Well, maybe when Will graduates, I'll give her something to do.
Well, I think that's a good idea.
I think the Caldwells is also a great name for a band, like the Cranberries or the Beatles, the Caldwells. I'm feeling it. I'll make t-shirts.
So we walk out of the little area where all the instruments are, and they actually have like a house band. So they have these professional musicians. It seems that each of them could play multiple instruments, and they're just sitting there. As my sister's like, "Oh, you got to get in there. All you do with them is you go in and sing." And my sister's like, "Oh, you got to go in there and do that." And I'm like, I'm not. Like, I don't karaoke. I'm not that person. Like, I mean,
okay, but this is not just karaoke, Mandee Caldwell.
I know, but I'm just not that person. I don't know why. I can stand on a stage and sing, 6 songs from a musical in front of 1,000 people. But in a smaller setting like that, I get more nervous and like, I don't know.
Probably because you can see people looking back at you, where if you're on stage, the house lights are down.
Right. So yeah, she finally talked me into it. So I said, and I'm still sick, like I'm still getting over it. So like I have no voice anyway.
Yeah.
And then they didn't have a great selection of songs, but I just went with Al Green's "Let's Stay Together." So that was fun. And then they're like, "Okay, sis," because they saw her filming me the whole time. And they're like, "Okay, sis, now you got to come sing one too." So they made her come sing, and we did a Tina Turner song. What's Love Got to Do with it? I think so.
Anyway, classic. So
that was fun.
Love it.
And then, so then we met some friends for dinner, and these friends are regatta parents. And they, the year before, had asked some of their local Cleveland friends for a dinner recommendation. Y'all, Johnny's Bar, it's called Johnny's Bar. It's really an Italian restaurant. But you go to the one on Fulton, not the one downtown. And we sat outside. There's this lovely little courtyard. But Cameron and Catherine, our friends, were so excited that, like, when we got out of the Uber, they were like, "Where's our guy?" And we're like, "Uh-oh, well, they're missing somebody." And then the door to the restaurant opens and there's nobody sitting there. And I was like, well, how did this door open? Katie, their guy who they were missing is a guy who like works the door at Johnny's. And at first I thought maybe he was a small person, but he's not. He just doesn't have any, like he doesn't just not have legs. Like it's like he doesn't have any hips or like, so I'm like, oh,
Warning would have been nice. Not that it matters to you whether
just
you're
the
gonna
shock
just
of it.
warning. I know. It reminds me of a time I used to do hiring at the Lizard, and so they sent somebody over and they did not tell me this is a typing on the phone job that he was missing a hand. And I was like, I hired him because he types faster than anybody else on this planet, but like y'all gotta give a girl a heads up.
Right.
Just let me know.
So the door magically opens, and then we see the guy, and then everybody in the restaurant turns and looks at us. Like it was like, who are these people?
Of course they do.
Who are these people who know about this place who aren't regulars? Like it was that kind
locals only. Can I see your
Locals.
driver's license, please?
Exactly. It was so funny, but we sat out in the courtyard. It was a great dinner. Food was great. Had the best time, and then got up the next morning and embarked on our bougie regatta.
Look,
Which involves
talk about
porta
food.
potties. And yeah, so Cameron's the dad who he drove from Nashville with a trailer that has its own grill, a griddle, like it has all that in it.
So that was like 8 hours of driving.
And he had a mishap along the way too. So anyway, it was a saga. But yeah, so somewhere along the way, I think maybe it was last year at the Nashville regatta, all these men were helping him with the breakfast burritos, and they were all whining because they were wrapping the burritos off the grill and it was burning their hands.
Oh, well,
and I was like, move over.
Asbestos fingers.
1,000%. I was like, I have asbestos hands. Get out of the way. So since then, I've been Cameron's sous chef.
Good.
For all the events. So yeah, so we did the breakfast burritos, and we did some chicken sandwiches for lunch, got the boys fed. But yeah, it's not a bougie experience. It's like a swim meet. You are out in a tent in the heat because it eventually did get hot. Waiting for them to go by for 30 seconds.
Right.
And you wish it was faster. But they did a great job. And Will was pleased, so it was all good. And
good.
And then we bailed. We were gonna try to go to a Guardians game that night, but we were just too tired. So we had pizza in bed, and I flew out. My alarm was set for 4:45. I met my Uber at 5 downstairs. I was back in Florida by 9:30, 10 o'clock.
I remember those days. Woo.
Crazy.
So I used to cover Ohio for the Lizard, and the one city I did not get to go to is Cleveland. So I love hearing those great things about Cleveland, and it makes me sad I never got to go.
Everything's so reasonably priced.
Yeah,
all the people are so friendly. Like it's just we were all sad. Like, oh no, we're not going to get to come next year. And then we decided we were going to come, and there's a little beer garden right there by where our tent was set up. And we decided we were going to go sit there and watch the people who none of whom helped. We were going to watch them try to figure out what the heck they were doing the next year and just enjoy it. But
that would be a fun adventure.
Watch the Braves game. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't. I've been in class, so.
Old Trey Turner just made a great play.
Love it.
With the Phillies.
Love it.
But anyway, okay. And speaking of Phillies baseball, this was something.
Yes.
So there is a guy that plays for the Phillies. He's not our baseball player of the week, but he's worth talking about.
Yes.
He plays for the Phillies. His name is Brandon Marsh. He is the guy. I think he's center field. He looks like a lumberjack. His hair is very long. His beard is longer.
Yes.
His hair looks greasy.
Yes, it does.
Katie texted me last week, like, what the heck is up with this guy? So
Like shower, please, at some point in
and
life.
he's actually a great kid. So I decided I had to tell
Yes,
y'all.
so you have to tell. Yeah, you told me that I felt bad.
But no, well, don't feel bad because he does look
He looks
awful.
like he never bathes.
He is actually from Buford.
Hello, I'm sitting in Buford.
He grew up in Buford, got drafted by the Angels. Oh, almost went out. Or did, was it out? Sorry. No, it wasn't out.
This
Double.
is one of my conversations with Mandee are like over text. We'll
The
be talking
Braves-
about something, and all of a sudden there's a baseball update.
The Braves have tied it up in the bottom of the
Love it, love it. In fact, I'm on. All right, what are we on? Valley.
Yeah, Valley.
You keep talking, and I'll find it on my own TV so
Okay.
we can.
So
and scream together.
Brandon Marsh got drafted by the Angels. My friend Kelly's texting me. I think in the second round, straight out of high school, was with the Angels organization for a long time. Thought he was going to get called up. He made like the 60-man roster the year of COVID. Thought he was going to get the call up. Didn't happen. All this time that he's in the minor leagues, his dad has cancer and is going through cancer treatments. And he didn't get called up in 2020. 2021, his dad dies. He's 50 years old. So Brandon, like, home
So
in
young.
Buford First Baptist Church, giving the eulogy. Goes back. He had a sore shoulder that year, so he was having, he didn't think he was going to get called up that year either. And then, like a month after his dad died, one of his best friends died.
Oh,
So he was back again, giving another eulogy. That was unexpected, though. But then there's this great article, I think in the Los Angeles Times. I can't remember if that's the one I sent you, or may have sent you the one from the Athletic. But so his mom is sitting on the beach in St. Simons and gets the call that he has been called up. And so she has to fly directly from St. Simons to Anaheim or Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But she's like, I didn't have any of my Angels gear that I had been collecting, so I was ready. Didn't have any of that. But she did have the urn that she kept some of his dad's ashes in. So she at least was able to take those when he got called up. And then shortly after that, he was actually traded to the Phillies. So that's how, and he's ended up doing really well. Somewhere along the way, though, he just decided to grow everything out. And
like
so
everything, like
he has grown his beard out.
Nothing is trimmed.
He is a woolly mammoth. And
I'm sure he's precious under all that.
Oh, he is. You could see old pictures of him. But apparently he doesn't like the way his hair feels when it's dry. And so he wets his hair like usually 4 or 5 times during a game.
That's what makes it look,
That's why it looks like it's greasy.
So here's what I think that you and I can help him with. We talked about this in the last episode. He clearly has some curl in his hair.
All right.
He just needs product. And I volunteer as tribute to help him with his product choices and usage.
Last year, after the Phillies knocked the Braves out, I had to follow them on Instagram because I was like, well, now I got to root for them because they beat us. So I got to get to know them better. And it's actually he and another sort of young guy. They call him the daycare. And every time the Phillies win a game, like when they're interviewing the player of the game at the end, the two of them come out with either bottles of water or ice, or sometimes they'll just get a cup full of gum, like whatever the random stuff is, and they sneak out. Of course, it's not even sneaking out at this point, 152 days a year. And they pour whatever it is over the head of whomever is being interviewed. And they call them the daycare. They're like, oh, here comes the daycare.
Here comes the daycare.
So they have a good time. I actually like a lot of the Phillies players, but I would like to kick their butts.
It's getting to that time of year where, like, it doesn't matter who else is your team. It's time. We're getting serious.
So, and to give you an update on the playoffs, we're recording on Wednesday. So here's the playoff standings. Last week I said I think that the Cubs were pretty assuredly in. Well, then they lost 5 games in a row.
Yes, they did.
Oh my stars. So at this point, the Braves are clinched, the Dodgers are clinched, and then there are I don't think the Brewers have clinched, but they're gonna win the Central. And so then you got the 3 wild card spots. The Phillies are pretty let me say it. The Phillies are pretty solidly in.
Okay.
Now let's see what happens.
You better
So
knock
next
on
year-
some wood or something.
No, I'd be fine for the Phillies to get out. They make me nervous.
Yeah, wow, that's true. True.
So the Phillies are pretty definitely in, and then you've got the Cubs, you've got the Marlins, you've got the Reds, and the Giants competing for the other 2. Oh, and the Diamondbacks, competing for the other 2 wild card spots.
Wow,
so
that'll be
is
fun to
sort of
watch.
a freaking toss up.
Yeah.
Nerve wracking, to see who's going to get the other 2 spots. So that's the National League. American League, I think the Orioles and the Rays are both guaranteed postseason, but they're in the same division.
Okay.
So they don't know yet who's going to win the East. And then I think the rest of them are all pretty much a toss up too. So
Here we
it's
go.
an exciting last week.
Getting into the good
I'll
stuff.
be going to Atlanta to a game on Tuesday. Going to see
Love
Dan's
it.
first game back in Atlanta.
Of course you are.
Yeah, the Cubs hadn't been to Atlanta yet this year. It's their first. It'll be his first trip to Atlanta. So,
How long will you be here?
just the day.
Just for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then our baseball player of the week.
Like, and I actually have so I love this kid. I love him.
Good.
I love him.
Kind of a random pick, but
No, it's Georgia boy. I love it.
he had a really good series this past weekend, and it just hit me. So Jason Hayward,
Love him.
again, Georgia boy. He grew up in McDonough. Was drafted by McDougal. One of my best friends in law school did a clerkship in McDonough, and she could never figure out how to pronounce McDonough. Every time she said it, McDonough. I swear, every time she said it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Hayward was drafted by the Braves out of high school. First round, was a phenom. Like minor league player of the year. Came up, they still tell stories in the Braves organization about his first spring training, how he kept hitting home runs so far that like he broke one of the coaches, he broke their sunroof on their car.
Hey.
He damaged a Coca-Cola truck. Like there are still stories told about how this kid just hit the cover off the ball.
Yeah.
His first at bat in the major leagues was like a 3-run home run. Like he just came up and killed. And he was with the Braves, I think, for 4 years before they traded him to St. Louis. And then maybe it was longer than that because he was only in St. Louis for like the end of the season, I think, before he signed with the Cubs. And he signed the biggest deal the Cubs had ever given out at that point. Like it was a big deal. And so
because he's good.
He joined the Cubs in 2016. This is the kind of thing that he did. So David Ross, who's now the manager for the Cubs, was the catcher for the Cubs, one of the catchers for the Cubs that season. And he had already announced it was going to be his last year playing. So Jason Hayward went ahead and upgraded David Ross to a suite for every away trip because David Ross had been really good to him when they were in the Braves organization together, and he wanted Rossi to be able to have his family with him whenever he wanted him for the whole year. So then, and everybody said the Cubs, that was the year the Cubs won the World Series, and Jason hadn't played real well that year. He was kind of hurt, and he just hadn't done as well as they had anticipated. But the Cubs, it was Game 7 of the World Series. They were in Cleveland. Ding, ding, ding.
Cleveland Rocks.
They were in Cleveland, and they were down, and it started raining. And so they had to delay the game. And to a person, anybody that was in that clubhouse, will tell you that the speech that Jason Hayward gave during that rain delay,
Yeah.
it's the only reason the
That they
Cubs
won.
finally broke the curse and won the World Series. And he was with the Cubs until last year, and anybody who came through that organization will tell you he was an incredible mentor to them,
Mhm.
still is. He started a baseball academy on
Mhm.
Chicago's South Side to help, get Black kids in baseball. Like, that's the focus of it. And at the end of last year, the Cubbies just optioned him, just let him go. Didn't sign him, didn't trade him, nothing. He was just done. And so he is BFF with our boy Freddie Freeman, because they came up through Braves organization
Yes,
together.
they did.
And so Freddie went to the Dodgers powers that be and said, I really think y'all should take a look at J.A. I really think y'all should just look at him and just, give him a chance. The Dodgers are known for sort of taking older players and reworking and helping them. And he said, I think it'd be worth a shot. And so Jay Hay signed a minor league contract with the Dodgers. I think it was like $750,000.
Okay.
And he has come up and done amazingly well.
Good.
And has gotten to do it with Freddie. And it's
that little Freddie Freeman.
Our boy Freddie. So it's just been really fun to watch, and I'm so glad he's, sort of found a second life and has been successful, and he's our player of the week.
I love that. Well, I met his dad and watched his brother play baseball. In another life, there was a person that liked to umpire in my world. And so and from that area, that's where we were. And from McDonough. And I watched that kid. I watched his little brother hit baseball so hard that he hit the school building, which was past the parking lot in the outfield.
Yeah.
On many occasions. And his dad was really kind and would speak whenever he got to know that I was with the umpires, and we would talk, because Jason was still with the Braves at that point. But anyway, just the whole family are just amazing human beings. And I don't know what his little brother's doing. You may be able to tell me, but that kid, when you said that about him breaking the sunroof, I'm like, well, I mean, his little brother can do the same thing. Like, hit the building out of the field across the parking lot.
Amazing.
The daggone building.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Of course you're a Hayward.
Yeah.
So I love that family and I love that story. So it's nice to know where he is now. I didn't really know. I thought I had seen him on the plane with Freddie, but I'm glad to know what journey that was.
And he just signed a 1-year deal. So the speculation is he's probably going to get a good contract, like get a free agent, good free agent.
Good.
This off
Good
season.
for him. He's a great guy. So
Yeah.
good for him. And talented.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what you got for us this week? You've had a busy week, man, wanting to travel. I love to hear it.
Woo.
I have been deep in school this week, so I haven't done a whole lot of fun stuff, but I've done a couple things. Well, I mean, it's every Saturday. I kind of take Saturday off if I can. And of course it's college game day. And I've got a group of people that we text back and forth during the day as we watch games. And you can imagine, what those text chains are like, ma'am. You can imagine what they say. But the first one, Saturday morning at 9:14 a.m., to my very good friend and a guy that's like my little brother, Dustin, was, in quotes, "Mark my words," says Corso, ... I had no idea that the sound you just made were actual words. Because Lee Corso, God love, I love him. I have so much love for Lee Corso. But he made noises that I think were supposed to be words, and I could not tell what they were. And then he said, "Mark my words." And I was like,
Well, I can't because I
"What
didn't.
words were those there, Lee?" And then I felt so bad about it because it was his 400th headgear pick. And the package that the video package they did for him was so sweet and so much fun.
Did I see? Did I see Herb Street crying?
Herb Street was crying. Everybody was crying. I was crying. Corso was crying. And he said, of course, which made me feel even worse. You know, ESPN hung in there with me when I had my stroke. So, you know, Katie's like, okay, let me get on my knees and ask for forgiveness for making fun of him not saying actual words. Again, I don't want him to go anywhere. I just think we need to limit his time on screen to maybe right at the end.
Yeah.
Let him have a little more sleep. He can sleep in.
Speaking of, I have to speaking of Herb Street, I have to give a shout out to our good friend Birch, who's one of our most devoted listeners.
I love Birch.
She thanked us for the Tuscaloosa.
Yep. Tuscaloosa, baby.
She loves Herb Street. Did not know this until I was at a spa in Nashville and I was taking a picture of all the celebrities they had on their wall.
Yeah.
And Herb Street was included there.
Yeah, he lives up there.
His boys went to Whoorl school.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Birch got all excited about Herb Street.
Herbie. So he's very good looking. He went to Ohio State, was the quarterback there. His wife was a cheerleader, cute as a button. And his wife is actually full circle. The one that got the very first headgear pick was for Ohio State. And he did it as a joke kind of for Herbie because he went there. And it was, you know, it was a long time ago. It was like decades ago at this point. So he was kind of fresh out of college. And because she was a cheerleader, she had connections to get the headgear from Ohio State. And it took a lot of finagling, but he surprised Corso on air, or Corso surprised Herbie on air with it because Herbie's wife helped him get it. So it was such a sweet moment all the way around. It showed my favorite Corso clip when they bleeped him out because he said the F word. He just chunked a helmet and said F it on live TV. Oopsie. It's one of my favorites. But it's 400 headgear picks, and I loved watching it. It was very sweet.
That is sweet.
He was not 400 years old, but he had done 400 headgear picks. It was great.
What is the mascot for Ohio State?
The Buckeyes. They're the Buckeyes. So what's funny is they kept talking about putting nuts on his head.
Now listen, we might have purchased some Buckeyes at the West Side Market, but
I love a Buckeye, the candy Buckeye.
There was I feel like there was a podcast or something, like there was some sort of run-in between Ohio State and maybe Ohio, because there is an Ohio University. Like something happened with their mascots, like there was a tackle, or there was okay. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Look it up and tell us about it. I would love to know that story.
I'll have to look that up. But because I was trying to remember.
Yeah.
What's the Ohio like? What's a Buckeye giraffe? Like what's his character?
I don't. It's like it's not a full like mascot outfit, right? Like it's a person size on the bottom. Like he just wears a rugby shirt and some pants, and then with this giant nut shaped head.
Okay.
With a hat on top.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Bucky, I think they call him. Maybe I don't know. But you know, there were lots of nut on Corso's head jokes with the Buckeye thing. So anyway, it was fun. It was so sweet. It made me feel very guilty for making fun of his speech. However, I still think he is a national treasure and we do need to protect him. And part of that is not trotting him out and putting him on air.
Yeah.
At 7 a.m.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
Just saying. It has been an interesting season in college football all the way around. I mean, always in the SEC.
Are kinda...
I know. I've always said in the SEC, which is so true, any team can win on any Saturday. You just never know, especially when you get to the rivalries, because there's so much behind those games, that you literally never know. Auburn usually loses, but whatever. They struggled against my alma mater Saturday, and I had to turn it. I said words that a preacher should never say. I had to ask forgiveness, and I turned it eventually, but they pulled it out. But I think the two things that have really changed it the most are the NIL and the transfer portal. Now, I will tell you, I'm no expert in either one of these things. I know a peripheral amount of information, but the NIL helps these young people not be taken advantage of by the schools. They get money for their likeness and their signature. I am fully behind that. They can get deals like Stetson Bennett used to have Raising Canes, so you would see him on commercials for Raising Canes, and he could get paid for that.
Brock Bowers has a
Yes.
deal with a credit union in Athens, and he's on all the Braves.
Yeah.
690 The Fan podcast.
General Booty, our favorite name, has I promise you, has a deal with the underwear company. He has his own underwear now.
So listen, that just makes sense.
General Booty.
That's good marketing.
So, I mean, look, I think it's great. One of the highest paid NIL students is a gymnast out of LSU. I'm here for it, because before, I really think colleges were taking advantage and making millions and millions with, making these kids sign all these jerseys and stuff and then selling them and making a bunch of money. So I think that evens the playing field in one level. But the sponsorships play into that transfer portal thing too. And so now you can transfer wherever. And a lot of it was funny. A lot of people in the off season were like, well, find out where their girlfriend plays D1 soccer and you'll find out where they're going. And that's true for a lot of people, that they just wanted to be closer to their girlfriend. So they transferred wherever. Anyway, but what it's done inadvertently, I think, in some ways, is leveled the playing field. So I'm not going to name any school names because I don't want to be held liable for putting things out in the public domain. But there are some schools that were doing this illegally before these two things happened. And so now that everybody can do it, they have no incentive to go to those schools. Oh, your mama needs a job? Sure, we can get her a job. Come to.
There've been some 30 for 30s about it.
Yes, right. So now that, they can get these great deals for themselves and help pay for their moms that have sacrificed all these years or whatever it is, it's a really leveled thing. So like being able to go to some of those schools is no longer the elite that it used to be. So the top 10 looks very different than it has in the past. And on the other hand, if you're not doing that, and Clemson has said, Dabo has said publicly many, many times, I'm not doing NIL and I'm not doing transfer portal. And they are suffering because of it. So I think it's a great thing on a lot of levels. I think that you shouldn't be able to transfer every time you change underwear. So I think there's still some regulations that need to happen. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this levels things out in all sports. I mean, it's going to be a lot more far reaching than we think. So I think it's real interesting. And double play Braves. So I've been real interested to see how this plays out long term and what changes that certain schools get to make because they don't like it.
Yeah.
But I think it's great. The SEC is not the powerhouse that it normally is this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's interesting. Very, very interesting. So I can't wait. This week we have a lot of ranked teams playing each other. We have not had that yet really so far this season. But this week has got some interesting matchups. So it should be a good one. And I can't wait to see how it plays out. We have Auburn has Texas A&M. Neither one of us are ranked, and we're both very angry about it. So that should be fun.
Okay.
Woo.
Yeah,
Yep.
I have to listen to the big casts.
Yes, yes.
Cal Field, or are you playing?
Hold on. I think we are, because we've been at home the whole time, so I'm pretty sure we're at Texas A&M at noon.
Ugh.
I know. So that should be fun though. I love to watch those games because they have all those the leaders or whatever they call them.
Yeah, so
It's so different.
One of our favorite podcasts is the Big Boo Cast.
Love it. Listen to
Melanie
it.
Shankle is a big Aggie fan, and
Yep.
her co-host Sophie makes fun of her all the time about all the crazy Texas A&M stuff.
Because it's like they take every single tradition and turn it on its head. So it's something weird for everything they do.
Yeah.
They call things weird things. They do weird chants and cheers. Anyway, I think I love a tradition. So, more power to them, but whatever. It's crazy stuff. So we'll see what it's like at Kyle Field. So, yeah. So that's, we're about to get real interesting, just like baseball is. We're about to get real interesting in the football world. So the other thing that I did this week that I probably shouldn't have, because I'm trying to eat better, although I'm not on a diet. I don't do well with diets. And everybody had been telling me about this new Chick-fil-A sandwich, and Katie, you're gonna love it. And it's got pimento cheese on it, and honey, and it's, on one of those buttered buns that I love. And so I thought, well, I have to be down at school, and then I just got a lot going on Monday, so I'll run through the drive-through when I get back. It is delicious.
Is it?
It is so flippin' good. So they say honey, but it's more like, those the nugget biscuit things that they do in the mornings. I forget what they're called.
Chicken minis.
The minis. It's kind of like that. It's almost like they barely brush the chicken with a little bit of honey. Probably the same concoction. And then it's got a few pickled jalapenos on it, but I'm a wimp and a half, and I don't normally do spicy. This was not spicy enough to make me pause. And then they put pimento cheese on top of it, and it is delicious. You could put pimento cheese on a turd and I'd eat it, but it is so good. I have been doing Ritz crackers heated up in the oven with a little pimento cheese and a little bacon pepper jelly on it. So I love that salty sweet that you get from pimento cheese and sweet. And this was right up my alley. It's dangerous. It's dangerous to know it's available in the world.
Everybody that I know that has tried it has said it was delicious. I feel like a lot of times, like when I go out to eat, I want the chef. Remember that rule about your accessories? Like
take one thing off.
Take one thing off. Sometimes I feel like that about food.
Sometimes that can be true. It is not the case here.
Is it a lot of pimento cheese, or
no?
Is it like a thin layer?
A layer on top, and it gets real melty. It's like putting a piece of cheese on it, but instead of having just a slice of cheese, it's a layer of melty pimento cheese.
So, you're convincing me to try it, because what most people don't know is the Dairy Queen in Moultrie sells a cup of cheese.
Why have in all my trips to Moultrie over the years?
Somebody has failed you. You've not gone to Moultrie with me.
You too. People
called me or told me you're going.
I was at Brooke's wedding, honey. Weren't you there? Yeah, we're gonna have to do that.
So yeah, and it's just like cheese whiz. It's like a little cup of cheese whiz. And my favorite thing to do is get a plain chicken sandwich.
Oh,
with pickles.
Yeah.
and pour that cheese whiz on top.
You
So
are
it sounds
going
like
to,
perhaps this might be
it's going to be up your alley.
okay. You know
But-
what I did one time?
Be warned though, you're not going to want just one.
When Popeyes came out with their chicken sandwich, and everybody was like losing their minds about it. I had to take one of the dogs to meet somebody, and
Yeah.
the interstate exit where I met them, had a had a Popeyes and a Chick-fil-A right there together. So you know what I did?
Side by side.
One of each, and then
Side by side.
test.
I like them both very much for different reasons. They are very different sandwiches, but they are both delicious. This thing,
prefer the Popeyes.
well, me too. This thing though, you just wait, honey. You
Okay.
report back, ma'am.
I will.
Report back.
I will.
Do
I'll
it.
I'll
Do it. So I slipped in a little favorite. Did you notice that? I slipped in. I used it in a different way so I could slip it in this week, but there's a favorite. So your favorites are coming up though.
Yeah. Did you already do your favorite?
I did the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich
that
with
was
the
so
pimento cheese
cool.
on it.
I was like, what?
It was delicious. Go
Okay.
get one.
Okay.
Do it. Try
No,
it.
I'm ready for my favorite. So the first thing I'm gonna tell you about is she has all kinds of things. She's an old school blogger. Like back in the day when Google Reader, did you have a Google Reader account?
I think I did. Yeah.
It was the bomb. It would just gather anytime you could subscribe to your favorite blogs.
Uh-huh.
Anytime somebody posted on their
Oh, it would put it in one place.
blog, then you go
That's
Google
right.
Reader.
I did. I think I did for a hot minute.
It's the best thing. Birch and I were very sad when they got rid of Google Reader.
Birch.
But
I
I've
feel like
been
Birch
following-
needs to be my friend.
Birch needs to be your friend. Tag on AJ Mentor is not pitching well, y'all.
Look, it's the hair. Get rid of the mullet, buddy. You're not 8. There's my Buford boy. Ooh.
So anyway, Whoorl, WHOORL. I have been
Okay.
following her since her son, who's now a senior in high school. I've been following her since he was born.
So is this
So-
a blog or a podcast?
Well, no, so she doesn't have a podcast. I follow her on Instagram now, and then she
Okay.
has started a lot of my favorite old bloggers have now started Substack accounts.
I
And
have
it actually
not.
reminds me a little bit of the old Google Reader, because now you can
Okay.
go on your Substack app and you can see who all has posted. And
Okay.
kind of click on it, which is kind of nice. But so she's doing that. I think her Substack, is paid. And I'm not gonna pay for anybody's.
Right.
I mean, I might
Is that her?
yeah, and she real ugly. Don't you feel sorry for her? It's a
She
shame.
is just not attractive in it.
I mean, y'all, drop
She
dead, gorgeous.
a vision.
You want to hate her, but you can't because she's so like great, down to earth, funny. Her hair is
Oh,
just
she is gorgeous.
like
Oh,
gold. She used to do a thing back in the day called like Hair Thursdays, and you could submit your hair, and she would like tell you how you should get it cut and
oh, her
stuff.
kids are beautiful. Oh,
I mean, it's just a nut. Her husband is freaking blue steel. But anyway, she's basically sort of a beauty influencer.
Yeah.
So what she does is like makeup, and she does all clean stuff. But she also she'll post. She and her sister walk every morning, and their goal is to get below a 13-minute mile, or at least a 13-minute
Okay.
mile. I mean, anyway. So last night she also does this thing with her dad, who is the candy man, because he has drawers full of candy at their house. And so it's in her stories. Hopefully she'll save it to highlight so people can go back and see
he's
it.
about to be my favorite person. You know, I love an old man.
Oh my God, he's awesome. He's amazing. And so she's done several where they do different taste tests of different candy. And so last night she had posted some because he's, getting into the Halloween candy. So,
Mm,
and they are just delightful.
I
Just
love it.
delightful. So I would recommend Whoorl.
I've already followed her on Insta.
Good. Another thing that I thought of as a favorite is Subversive cross stitch.
Okay, I'm about to click on the link. This will all be in the show notes, peeps. So,
My grandmother, who lived in Lucedale, Mississippi, home of Justin Steele, former baseball player of the week.
I love that every time you say that, that's in parentheses right behind it.
Yeah, gotta add that in. So my grandma Billy owned, it was a frame shop in Lucedale, but she was real big into needlepoint and cross stitch and that sort of stuff. So
Yep,
she had
love it.
kit things there. So she taught us all how to cross stitch. And then I hadn't really done any, when we were in college, I cross stitched the Mercer Administration Building for my friend Dixie for her graduation.
Love it.
But it's most of the time when you find kits, they're like cheesy as all hell. Like, there's nothing really fun. And then I found Subversive cross stitch.
So some of these words I cannot say on recorded devices.
There are a lot of dirty
I'm
words.
so excited.
There are a lot of dirty words, but my favorites are the holiday, like the Christmas patterns.
Okay, I'm clicking there.
Like, go elf yourself.
Oh my gourd, it's fall. Hello, Queen. I got mad skulls. Bring it.
So, but now's a good time to go check some of those out, and you can start working on your cross stitch.
That I can't say.
Gifts.
That I can't say.
You can find someone who will appreciate sense of humor. Do a little cross stitching while you're watching your baseball, and it'll get you off your phone for 5 minutes.
Mistletoe is a patriarchal construct. Can't say that one. Can't say that one.
Yeah. Some of them you can't repeat, but
no, but I love this is my yeah. So definitely gonna start. Are they on anywhere like Insta too?
Yeah, they're on Instagram.
Okay, so I'll have to follow them as well. All right, let me go do that.
Yeah.
Love it.
All these great like gold frames. And so, you have this cute little cross stitch pattern with a dirty word in it and your little gold frame. It's great.
Yep.
So,
I may or may not have something secretly hung at my house that's inappropriate in a beautiful gold frame.
There you go. Makes it
but my house is a parsonage, so I can't put it out.
And then my next thing is Richard Rohr, I think is how you pronounce his name. Rohr. He started the Center for Action and Contemplation. Is what it's called. I think it's in Mexico, maybe.
He's no, well, I think he's from Missouri.
Okay, well,
because I know who he is. He's Methodist too, by the way.
So he does a daily meditation email,
which I did not know that.
Oh, it's so good. Every week is sort of a theme, and it's follows that theme for the week, which is great because if it's a thing you're not really interested in, you can just sort of skip that week. But I really enjoy that. It's my sort of daily meditation every morning. So I would recommend that.
Doing it now.
And then my last one, just generally Smitten Kitchen. Everything she does is magic and great. Yep. But in particular, one of the things I'm looking forward to cooking now that it's warming up cooling off a little bit is she does a broccoli, cheddar, and wild rice casserole.
Really?
And I add chicken to it, so it's basically like chicken to band at the end of the day. And it is just killer.
I love it. Anything Smitten Kitchen. You've sent me, what did we make? Like a galette one time.
Yes.
That tomato galette. Oh,
Tomato and corn and zucchini.
it
Oh.
takes a lot to get me to make a dough because I'm so scared of it. And you got me to make a dough.
Well, Eric, listen, she's no fail. Like you can trust her recipe
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
she has tested them and tested them and tested them. So,
Love it.
but yeah, that if you do the broccoli cheddar and wild rice casserole, and I don't always do wild rice. Sometimes I'll just do regular rice.
Yeah.
And then just add some chicken in there, and y'all, it is so good.
So
So
good.
good.
I
just
love
did
that.
a big cast iron skillet. It's lovely. So
Amazing.
those are my favorites.
Those are great favorites. Love it. Thank you. You always teach me something. I'm so excited. I'm following new things. I signed up for a daily devotion from Richard Rohr. It does say New Mexico on here, so maybe he has moved. We're itinerant in the Methodist Church, but at one point I know he was in Missouri. He helped Mulberry, my home church, do some work, and so I'm familiar with him and the reports that he will do for different churches. But I had not signed up for that.
He's been
Devotional.
on Brene Brown's
Yep.
podcast, which
He's a big deal. Yeah.
resurrect.
Yeah.
He's
He's
that was
great.
just a delightful conversation she had with him.
Yeah.
I recommend that too.
Yep. He's good. He's good. Love it. Thank you. I should have known about that, but I didn't. So thank you for that. And again, one day soon, we're going to talk about why you've never joined the church. A whole nother, that may be for my other podcast.
You need to be a guest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, friends. Well, Mandee, what do you have coming up this week? What fun are you doing?
I'm home, which is really fun.
Yeah,
And then I'm headed to Atlanta on Tuesday
for the game.
for Braves versus Cubs.
I'm sure you will take us lots of pictures. I'm not excited about the score that I'm seeing currently.
6-5. 6-5 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 10th.
Yep.
Well,
But okay, and so there's lots of fun football. I'm sure there are gonna be some crazy games. Oh, this is the other thing. I don't know. None of us would do this. Nobody that we listen to would do this. But if you know somebody that's threatening that poor little kid that hit the Colorado player, just smack him over the head. Hurt them, please.
Dion for coming out and saying
Yes,
that is ridiculous stuff.
it is ridiculous. And I'm contemplating buying some of Dion's shades because they're good looking. So it's gonna be a great week. I have 2 tests tomorrow, so after that I'll get my life back. So we'll see what's going on there. I never know.
That's the one.
Thank you. It'll be fine. I'm sure I'll be
I
okay.
have one.
It's just a lot. It just adds a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So oh, okay. So at some point, maybe when college baseball rolls back around, we're gonna have to talk about why pitchers have hair. Because I just saw this picture for the Phillies that came on the screen. So that's another topic for another day. Again, for friends and listeners, if you have topics of conversation that you would like for us to have, please send your suggestions. We would love that. And
an Instagram account. You can follow
yes, follow the Instagram. We post a lot of fun stuff there during the week. And also, I was thinking about merch the other day. I don't know what we could do besides we are so fun, but now that I heard myself say it 5,000 times, I haven't really said it much. He looks like a scarecrow, but okay. Right. Sorry. We're watching the game as we podcast. Their picture looks like a scarecrow to me with long curly locks. Yeah. All right, friends. Well, y'all have a wonderful week. And as always, now, Brooke, I really do have a bone to pick with you because you never introduced me to the cheese. As much as I was down there with our former employer and for your wedding, I never heard about the cheese.
Love you, Brooker.
We love you, but now I'm mad at you. We got to get some cheese.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody.